From vacation.
From vacation. Would you call it that? It's called a trip because we took young children. So it was not a vacation.
But we watched our kids in the mountains.
Yeah.
Which is special.
Yeah, it was cool. The little one is doing this really cute thing where he goes, ooh. And so he's like 16 months old and he's like pointing at the river and the mountains and the flowers and he goes, ooh. It's very cute. And then I got surgery yesterday.
We're packing it all in at the end of the summer.
Yeah.
And we thought we'd record while you're hopped up on painkillers.
Yeah.
We were going to...
This episode sponsored by Hydros.
We were going to review Dope Sick, but we thought first we should try it.
I should get some prescribed. That's funny. The nurse who called me today to check up on me was like, if you're experiencing breakthrough pain, and I was like, watch out, Trick. I know what you're talking about. Don't you try and give me a double dose.
But she didn't. She just told you to take ibuprofen.
No. Okay. So for context, the surgery was like no big deal. I 4 years ago had a benign ganglion cyst, super sexy, show up in my right wrist. It's just like this little lump. I told the toddler it was alien eggs that were planted inside of me.
And he immediately said that he had them too.
Yeah, he's like, oh, I have alien eggs. And I was like, okay, one-upper. It was fine. It was just, it didn't really hurt or anything until like the last year. And so we have good health insurance. So I was like, why not get this thing removed? And it was pretty painful. Especially towards the end, it was incredibly painful. Like I feel bad for people who struggle with actual like chronic pain. I can see how it can give you like depression.
Yeah, it affected everything you did.
It's just a constant like Chinese water torture, just like this drip, 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 drip all the time. You're just dealing with this like sensory input of pain. Yeah, it's overwhelming. Anyway, so I got it removed. I really am kind of doped up right now.
This should be good.
And then while they were prepping me for surgery, the nurse who was prepping me was like asking about my kids because that's easy.
Yeah.
And I have 2 boys. She had has 2 boys. And she's like, well, mine are 4 years apart because I had 2 losses in between them. And I was expressing sympathy for that. And then she goes, and all of these people who support these abortion bans, they just would have preferred that I die. And I was like, oh my God, here we go. Here we go. I hadn't slept the night before. And she's trying to talk to me about abortion while I'm sitting here in a hospital.
And this happens to you a lot. People just assume that you agree with them.
A lot. Well, this has happened to me my whole life, especially when we were in DC. Like leftists always assume that you agree with them politically. And I've never had that happen the other way around. It's always leftists coming up to me and being like, can you believe? Or like they expect me to agree with them. And then, so she's doing this prep and she made this comment and I said, well, I don't think the people who actually support those bans would in any world, want you to have to go through an ectopic pregnancy. There's a 0% chance of survival for the fetus, and nobody would want you to go through with that. She goes, oh no, they would. And I said, no, they wouldn't. And then as she could feel like that there was conflict, and I smiled and I was like, I think we might disagree. And she kept pressing. Ugh. And she goes, no, all of these pro-lifers, they would want me to, I would have died. And I said, nobody wants that to happen. And then I changed the subject because I was like, this is going to go nowhere. And she's going to put an IV in my hand in 2 seconds.
Yeah.
So
she's going to start your morphine drip.
I know. I know that we're in a liberal city.
Extremely. Yeah.
But this has happened to me too. I don't know if it's because I'm a younger female.
Probably.
But remember our neighbor did this to me too. And he's a Vietnam vet guy who just assumed and he goes, well, they just want to control women's bodies. And I think in like a super annoying, pedantic way, he was trying to like connect with me.
Yeah, like See, I'm on your side. I'm
Yeah.
one of
And
the
I
good
was like,
ones.
oh, well, I know it's unpopular, but Jace and I are pro-life. Oh, well, we're pro-life too. We just think that you should be able to kill your baby if you want. Whatever.
And then you thought maybe she took it a step further because when they were prepping your hand for surgery, you thought they were going to start cutting before you went under, right?
Oh my gosh, yeah. So they wheeled me into the room, and then the room was like super bright. What is that old? It's not like LED light where it's bluish. So that super ugly, harsh fluorescent light, like extra, extra bright.
Yeah, Biden just banned all the old light bulbs, so that should be all LED now.
It is not good for the complexion. So they wheeled me in there, and then they like had me move to another table, and then we were talking about, everybody just asked about my kids, I guess, because that's an easy topic. And then so we were talking about kids, little boys peeing on bushes, and then she's like, okay, here's some oxygen. Lies, that was more than oxygen. So she started to put me out, and then I heard this buzzing. So they had me put my hand up by my ear, like weighted down. There was like a weight on it, to keep it still for surgery.
Mm-hmm.
And then I heard this buzzing happening behind my ear, and I was like, I'm not asleep. I didn't say this, but I'm thinking this because I'm already kind of paralyzed from the drugs. But then I realized at the very last minute they were just shaving the hair off of my hand. And I was like, I was terrified. Because I had a friend who just had a baby who felt the C-section cut.
Oh, my.
Yeah. Like, she knew that the numbing worked, but apparently it didn't go through all the levels of her muscles, and they cut and she felt it.
But we're hoping your hand feels better now.
Yeah, I was in quite a bit of pain this morning. I got behind on the pain meds, and it took me hours to catch up. Oh, and then they called me to check to see how I was doing. And the nurse was like, just take some ibuprofen on top of your hydros. And I was like, okay, that seems like a lot, but sure. Oh, and she was like, if you're experiencing breakthrough pain.
Did she say that?
Yeah. She said breakthrough pain.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, I know.
But just take ibuprofen, not another.
She said take ibuprofen
Okay.
in conjunction.
Yeah.
And then I asked about dosage. And so I was like, well, how much ibuprofen should I take? She said, you can take 800 milligrams. That's a prescription dose. And I was like, I don't mind saying my weight. I'm like, I weigh 150 pounds. Like, I know that's not small, but that seems like a lot of drugs for like, I don't know. And so I started with 600 milligrams, and then I was still feeling pain. And then so the second time that the time came around to take the second dose, I took 800 milligrams, which was this afternoon, and I still don't feel normal. I don't like how I feel. I think it's because I feel out of control.
Yeah.
And there's like a 3-second delay for everything, and it makes me feel loopy. Not a fan.
I think the goal is to get you to sleep. But again, see little kids, we're watching them at home again.
Yeah.
That makes that hard.
Welcome to episode 24 of the Free State Podcast. I'm Laura.
And I'm Jace.
Today we talk about
Astrology for hot girls.
Ariana Grande, marriage, some other stuff. That racist I dated in college.
Yeah. The best way to help us if you like today's episode is to give us a 5-star review and a rating on Apple and Spotify and wherever else you're listening. People tell us that helps with the algorithm. It helps if you share the episodes with a friend, but if we can get boosted in the algorithm, then people discover the show naturally, and that's the fastest way we can grow. And we'd appreciate you helping us do that.
If you don't already follow us on Instagram, that's another way to help support the show. We share a lot of show clips there. And you can follow us at Free State Pod on Instagram.
And as always, if you want to send us a message, you can get that to us at freestatepod@gmail.com. And if you want to leave a voicemail and potentially be on the show, you can go to anchor.fm/freestate, and they make it really easy to send us one there.
Enjoy.
So you wanted to know my sign?
Yeah, I wanted to talk about astrology with you
I mean, last time we talked about yoga, so this is a natural progression.
Well, someone reached out to me the other day. This is a friend, and she was talking to me about our Saturn return.
What?
Have you heard of this?
No.
Okay, well, there's an article from The Cut, and it's a handy guide to surviving your Saturn return. It's like this idea in astrology where it's the end of your 20s, and it's basically the equivalent of a quarter life crisis. But Saturn reaches the same point in its orbit every 29.5 years.
Oh.
So where Saturn was when you were born, it will be in the same exact orbital position 29.5 years from then. And you apparently have a crisis because of this. And then you have it again in your late 50s or mid 50s.
When Saturn comes around again. I prefer to take the pietistic approach and look at my Jesus year.
What?
When you're 33, the year Jesus had his passion.
Oh.
And I'm turning 33 this year. But all of that to say, I think astrology is a way to cover up narcissism, thinking that the universe revolves around you and has some special deep significance.
For sure. Oh, who came up with the idea that we're not geocentric? Who was that? Who proposed that to the king?
Was that Copernicus?
Can you Google it?
Yeah.
I'm too high to Google it. And they punished him somehow for even suggesting that we weren't geocentric and that we instead revolved around the sun.
Yeah, I was right. Nicolaus Copernicus.
Poor guy.
He was an astronomer who proposed that planets have the sun as the fixed point to which their motions are to be referred.
Okay, and the difference between astrology and astronomy is planets and stars?
So astronomy would be the study of stars and such. Astrology is like making up crap and saying that it has some kind of
philosophical,
woo-woo, not philosophical, but some kind of woo-woo connection with things on Earth. Like the position of the stars has some effect on your personality and what happens.
Chiromancy.
What?
That's what that is. What you're describing is chiromancy. I looked this up. Like palmistry, like reading your palms.
Yeah,
the
so it's
divinity
like
of your life is determined by your palm reading or whatever.
Okay.
It's okay. So palmistry, also called chiromancy or chirosophy, reading of character and divination of the future by interpretation of the lines and undulations on the palm of the hand. But chiromancy is the way that Martin Luther referred to astrology. Because I looked up what he had to say. I just picked someone. I was like, what is our aligned critique of astrology? So I looked up if Martin Luther had anything to say about it.
Oh, I mean, my favorite, well, I won't step on it. What did he say?
Oh, I'll just say, I don't want to read too much of this, but chiromancy we should utterly reject. And the stars is neither strength nor operation, but they are but signs, and have therefore just cause to complain of the astrologers, who attribute unto them what they have not. The astrologers commonly ascribe that to the stars which they ought to attribute to the planets that announce only evil events, except that star which appeared to the wise men in the east, and which showed that the revelation of the gospel was at the door. He goes on to say, what is done by God ought not to be ascribed to the stars. The upright and true Christian religion opposes and confutes all such fables. The way of casting nativities is like the proceedings in popedom, whose outward ceremonies and pompous ordinances are pleading to human wit and wisdom, as the consecrated water, torches, organs, cymbals, singing, ringing, but withal there's no certain knowledge. An astrologer or horoscope monger is like one that sells dice and balls. Behold, here I have dice that always come up 12. If once or twice their conjectures tell, they cannot sufficiently extol the art. But as to the infinite cases where they fail, they are altogether silent. Astronomy, on the contrary, I like. It pleases me by reason of her manifold benefits.
Yeah, I mean, you can navigate with astronomy.
Right.
But with astrology, you're just speculating about nothing.
I don't really know much about it. All I know is that hot girls really like astrology. And so just on that reason alone, I too want to like astrology. But yeah.
The law of fashion is strong. That was a pretty good case against astrology, though. Are you convinced, or are you still trying to see
No,
if
yeah,
there's something
he's right.
to it?
I'm just saying. He asked why twins like Esau and Jacob had two different natures yet were born at the same time, which is fair. I know some twins who are very different in nature as well. I signed up to get my natal chart, and astralcoach.com has yet to send. I paid 50 cents for it. Business write-off, but still.
Man, they're slow.
Yeah.
My favorite takedown of astrology was in that first section of Augustine's City of God. So he's writing that against the charge that Rome was sacked because they converted to Christianity and gave up their polytheism and paganism. And he was showing how stupid paganism was.
Mm-hmm.
And so most of the arguments I remember were against the idea of having a god for everything, like a god of the doorway and a god of the stairs and whatever. But he made fun of the idea that the place where the star is when you happen to be born has any significance to your life.
Sometimes, though, when I read these things, now I realize that I could just be willing it to fit what I want it to say. But sometimes when I read them, it seems eerily accurate.
No, that's right. And there's a difference between, so sometimes I've seen people like famous skeptics who go up to psychics and mediums that are pretending to speak to the dead. And the mediums are so vague that they can get gullible people to go, oh, me, I had a dead Aunt Sue. That's who you're talking with. But a lot of the skeptics have been able to show that there's an art to that, to where you're vague enough to get someone to buy in, and then you're able to do the reading. I think this is different, though. I think maybe there is something to it, but that doesn't mean you should do it, right?
So this is kind of where I've landed on it in the last week or two, thinking about it. You have astrology, but then you also have things like the Enneagram and the Myers-Briggs.
Okay. Are you saying those are kind of equivalent?
This is a very unformed thought here.
That's what these podcasts are for.
So you have these personality tests, all of these tools to plug in clues, and they, tell you about your nature. Mm-hmm. I'm wondering if these tools are just early discoveries of a pattern that maybe God uses when he creates us. And there must be a pattern to it, right? Everything he does is meticulous.
Yeah.
So have we begun to touch the fringes of this pattern with these tools? Like, I don't...
And there's some kind of... I'm just trying to think of the functionality, right? So are they saying that the position of the stars has some kind of gravitational effect that determines our personality and all of that? I think Martin Luther's point that a bunch of people born on the same day, even twins, will have different paths or whatever, refutes it enough. But the eerie coincidences, so I'm very skeptical of the idea that the position of the stars determines anything. Mm-hmm. But the idea that horoscopes and all this other speculative crap that astrologers have assigned to people based on when they were born, that might fall under the general prohibition against the occult. And whatever similarities come out of you reading that, I don't think come from the position of the stars so much as there might be a demonic force there that's taking you away from the truth and giving you enough that looks right to persuade you.
That seems fair. So how do you explain, like, Enneagram? Because the only science behind that is just matching personality traits.
Yeah, The Enneagram to me seems more like the Myers-Briggs. It's you answering questions about
Yeah.
what you understand about yourself and how you react in certain situations, and they've come up with 9 whatever general types.
So when God is like, knitting us together in our mother's womb, is he upstairs just like in Build-A-Bear's workshop, and he's got a wheel with 9 segments on it, and he rolls it like the Wheel of Fortune to determine which Enneagram we're all going to come out to be?
Yes and no, right? Like, it's not an exact pseudoscience, right? We're not all 100% whatever number you are. Like,
Yeah.
you'll have a wing or whatever. So that lets you fudge some of those. And I don't know. It depends on the day for me what number I think I am. But I think that means I'm a 9, right?
Yeah, you're a 9.
Change. It's one of those things. It's just like science. Just because a ruler happens to capture how long something is that because God made matter such that it'll fit this ruler? Or have we just come up with a way to capture part of creation and make it legible to ourselves? I don't think God designed it with that in mind. I think we've just found ways to make sense of the world around us. But I would say that there's no demon in science that makes rulers line up all the time.
Your point about demonic forces is interesting because I'm always curious about what motivates people to become so learned. Is that how you say that word?
Sometimes.
In these arts, if you will be so charitable, like astrology.
What makes people spend so much time?
They will spend so much time reading about Saturn return or their natal charts or whatever, and all of these times in their apps, but they will not once open a Bible to read anything.
Everybody's terrified of dying, and they'll do anything they can to not think about that. And you're talking about what hot girls do?
Yeah. The irony is that living becomes so much easier once you become comfortable with dying.
Yeah, but
like,
I think that explains a lot.
That's a cliche, but...
Well, when you take on responsibility and you realize death is coming, but life will be more meaningful if you do what you're supposed to do anyway. Is that what you mean?
Yeah. Or
what is a hot girl supposed to do?
What do you mean?
Like when a hot young single girl, what is she supposed to be doing? It's hard to answer the question immediately, and so they find things like this to occupy themselves until they get wifed up, right? But a lot of them are in universities, right? And
not at 29 and a half when they're having their Saturn return.
Oh, fair.
No,
a hot girl at 29 and a half is scared because she's not married yet and she's about to hit the wall and she doesn't have kids and she's worried. That's why she's going to demons. She's like Saul. Like, we just went through this in church. We're going through 1 Samuel. Saul's at the end of his life. God's not talking to him, so he goes to a necromancer to talk to Samuel to try and get some message from God about what he's supposed to do in this battle or whatever. That's what these hot girls are doing. They're looking at the wall. They don't have a kid. They don't have a husband. Satan, tell me what the stars say, because I have no path forward here. I went to college like they told me, and I'm unhappy.
The other thing that makes me super skeptical about astrology is that, like, these so-called experts who study it for so many years, what are you studying? What is the source of this knowledge?
Exactly.
I don't know. What are we talking about here?
So I'm trying to apply like an Aristotelian approach, right? He's focused on what's going on around him. He's recording observational science about... He's recording what he sees. He's talking with people about what they think about things. Are the people who study this coming up with consistent conclusions based on survey data? Like, they talk to everybody born at the end of August like me and we're all the same, and they just write down that people born at the same time as me happen to act in the same way, and then they get online and they go in their chats and it's like, oh yeah, all Virgos are like this. I don't think that's how it happens.
Surely not. The other thing that I'm curious about is they say, first of all, I still have not gotten my natal chart. I paid these suckers 50 cents.
Are we going to have to get a new debit card
40
again?
40 minutes ago. The other thing is they say that your time of birth is really important. And so I was born at 2:14 a.m. because my mom delivered me vaginally. But there are so many women now getting C-section births
Oh, that are
and
scheduled.
like scheduled inductions.
Yeah.
So then I'm like, well, are we just going to have, are the natal charts going to be all disproportionate
Yeah.
20 years from now?
Sure. Yeah, they'll all be at 8 a.m.
And
on
so
a
we'll have
Friday,
this big like personality imbalance.
Yeah.
If these astrologers are accurate.
That's right.
What time were you born?
I don't remember. I asked my mom when you wanted me to come up with this chart, and I've already forgotten.
You were a C. How have you forgotten that?
Because it doesn't matter.
Men and women are so different. Okay.
She didn't remember exactly either. It was in the evening, I want to say.
You were a C-section baby.
It wasn't scheduled, though.
Right.
5:30 p.m. is what I put in.
But see, is that on the dot? This could
I don't
totally
think
mess
she
up the whole
knows.
thing.
I know it was within a few minutes of that.
We're never going to know when your Saturn return is.
We're pretty sure it's already passed. Though,
Do you
right?
remember when the boys were born?
Time?
Yes.
The baby was born early in the morning. I remember that.
7 o'clock on the dot.
Oh, that's right. And I remember
Mhm.
that was cool.
Mm-hmm.
And I know the toddler was born on your 25th birthday, but
Mhm.
what time of day?
1:14 p.m.
Cute. I mean, it was more traumatic for you, so that's probably burned into your mind.
Oh, my birth chart is ready.
Oh, my.
I remember sitting in a doctor's office filling out, well, I wasn't filling out, my dad was filling out paperwork for me because I was like 10 and he couldn't remember my middle name.
Okay, that's worse.
So my birth chart just has a bunch of signs. I don't know what any of this means.
That's a good thing. Like it's a bunch of symbols or?
Yeah.
Okay. No English?
The location of house.
Oh, geez. I don't know what
The
that is.
planet. Yeah, I don't know what any of this means. I regret paying for this.
There's no just summary. Hey, you're a
Oh, here we go.
summer.
I'm a Leo rising. You are an energetic and confident person. These make you to be the center of attraction in all the events you attend. People's interest in you make you a stronger person. You are compassionate, even though you lose your temper easily. See? This is accurate so far.
Okay. Keep going.
You can calm down when you realize other person's regret. You are forgiving. Your leadership traits are apparent. You encourage people with your enthusiastic and passionate attitudes and help them to create amazing tasks.
You calm down when?
When you realize the other person's regret.
Keep going.
However, your passion to be a leader can get excessive from time to time. You can be hard on people and put a lot of pressure on them. See, that's accurate. It would be wise to set aside time for yourself to reevaluate yourself and do meditation or other spiritual exercises at those moments. All these attributes indicate that you are a well-built person with thick hair and broad shoulders.
Wait, what?
It says thick
Talks
hair
about
and
physical characteristics
but
too.
that's accurate.
You would say you have broad shoulders?
Yeah, for a girl I do.
Oh, okay.
That's weird.
I told
Jace.
you. That has nothing to do with where Venus was.
So you think it's true but evil? You think like
if
it's
true, then evil, not tied to the stars. Yes.
not tied to the stars. So this is like
No,
just like
It's
wormwood whispering.
yeah. That's what I think, actually.
Well, then he's got a lot of things right.
Well, let's read mine then. Or you
Okay.
read mine. It's probably better for them to hear you do it. See if you agree with any of that.
Jace is using a different app. Your key phrase is I analyze. Your life path number is the number 4. Your spirit color is gray.
My spirit color? What does that even mean?
I don't know. You're wearing gray.
Most of my
I always
t-shirts are
think
gray.
you're like your aura or whatever. If like, well,
You have synesthesia.
how
What-
do you feel about that? Do you think synesthesia is like satanic?
No.
Should we say what synesthesia is?
Probably. You perceive color where other people don't.
I know a lot of other women who have that. I don't think that it's like exclusive to women, but
No, I
most-
had a friend in band. I think different musical notes were different colors for him. Yeah.
You've always been like an olive green to me. Oh, this was interesting. When I did my natal chart on this app, my polarity was masculine and yours is feminine.
But what does that have to do with the stars?
You have negative energy, which is also known as feminine energy.
I mean, I am being skeptical. If I liked it, would it say I had positive energy?
I don't know. You have to subscribe to get more information.
I bet
Oh my gosh, now there's an ad. I don't. It's a long ad. But I do think that it's interesting that like this new age stuff kind of cycles through because what?
I just got an alert from this app, and it said, take advantage of this cosmic moment. Full moon in Aquarius. Tap to embrace cosmic guidance.
Are you an Aquarius?
No, it's saying the full moon is in Aquarius. I don't know what that
like
means.
that means something.
Maybe.
Yeah. What is your sign?
Virgo.
And I'm a Libra. I think all the things say that we're not compatible.
Oh. See,
So
I
that's
didn't
good.
I didn't check that. But what about opposites attract? What is that?
Virgo and Libra compatibility.
I'm not going to trust Google.
Quite magnificent when
Oh.
it comes to understanding each other on an emotional level.
There you go.
From astrotalk.com.
See?
We will be distinguished by mutual respect, but we will need to adjust fast to one another's eccentricities due to their diverse personalities.
Isn't that everybody?
Oh, like what, we're fallen people and all that jazz?
No, like I'm a man and you're a woman. Those
Oh.
things are different.
That's what I also loved about signing up for these apps is that I could say that I was non-binary. And I'm like, you're telling me that this information at the beginning is so critical, but like I can just say, I don't know, and one of them, and the information you're going to give me is still accurate.
Oh, the stars determine everything except the thing that determines most of what you do with your life?
Exactly. In the
Okay.
beginning, the most important things that you enter are your gender, your date of birth, and your time of birth. But like on the one that I just went back to check, I could do male, female, I prefer not to specify, or LGBTI. Blah, blah, blah.
That probably has more to
I know.
do with your life than the stars.
Yeah. So for that reason alone, I'm just I'm a skeptic now.
Bigot.
Mm-hmm. But I was thinking about this hot girls and Saturn return business. What? I'm trying to transition into the other topic on the docket.
You said hot girls. I'm listening.
Yeah, I'm just gonna see how old she is right now. Ariana Grande, 30 years old. Let's see when her actual birth date is. June 26th.
Just turned 30.
So, see, her Saturn rising was when she got a divorce from her husband that she was married to for like 6 months.
She was married?
Yeah.
Oh.
People forget that.
I just learned that.
She was only married for like a year, I think.
Just
Anyway.
someone in entertainment or?
She was married to, I have it on my phone. She was married to Dalton Gomez. I'm not sure who that is. But the big thing in the news with her now is that she is together with Ethan Slater, a co-star, while they're filming Wicked. Ethan Slater is this ugly actor who played SpongeBob SquarePants in a live musical rendition of the show. Has had a wife and a 1-year-old baby with this woman and is now hanging out with Ariana Grande.
Many such cases in Hollywood, right?
Many such cases.
But what's in it for her? Was she one of the ones that dated Pete Davidson?
Yeah, so she dated Pete Davidson. She dated a bunch of other dudes. I can't even keep up with her. I don't like her at all.
Is he attractive?
Who?
Pete Davidson.
Not to me, but I know a lot of girls who say he is, but I think they just feel like they need to say that because they see that hot women are dating him and they want to be hot too, so they like try and associate with him in that way.
Is that the same thing with this Slater guy? Is it?
No, like he's really ugly.
Eee.
Yeah.
But so the story is she's just a homewrecker then?
Yeah, and that's basically what his ex-wife came out and said. She's not a girl's girl, was the exact quote.
Is that supposed to be her image, though, that she's a girl's girl?
No, it's just a way of,
okay.
like...
Because the only other thing I know about Ariana Grande, besides being able to improvise and sing very well...
Yeah, she's a super talented vocalist.
She like went to a donut shop and licked something and threw it.
Oh my gosh, that was years ago.
That's the only thing I know about her.
She said, I hate America, and like licked a donut and put it back on the shelf. She's very bratty.
Okay.
Yeah. And she does the whole like, I don't know. I've seen people really dig into this like psychologically, but she does the like kind of infantilizing look where she'll like wear the really high pony with a really short skirt and like, like act like a little girl kind of thing.
Didn't she have the song about God being a woman too?
Yeah. That's her.
It's all fitting into a picture.
Jace is not much of a page 6 guy.
The stars tell me this is likely someone to hide your kids and wife from.
So I'm saying that like girls who like Ariana Grande are the same kind of girls that do like this astrology stuff. It's very basic.
Women you shouldn't marry, unlike
culture.
Taylor Swift fans, right?
Yeah. Those girls are so much more wholesome though. I'll just say that the Taylor Swift girls probably weren't as hot in high school. Not to say they haven't peaked since, but you know what I mean.
So those are two different camps. If you like Taylor Swift, you don't like Ariana Grande?
No, they're not opposing, but they're different girls.
See, on my chart, it's all pop.
Oh,
those are two genres, though.
No.
Like, put Ariana Grande on a scale with Taylor Swift and Cardi B and Nicki Minaj. Those are all very different kinds of artists, right? When I think Cardi B and Nicki Minaj, I think rap.
Okay.
But when I think Ariana Grande and Taylor Swift, I think pop. What's the subgenre here? Is Taylor Swift more country? How are they different? Taylor Swift is whiter?
No, it doesn't have anything to do with that. Okay, like Ariana Grande fans are like your mean girls. They're like mean hot girls.
Okay.
And then Taylor Swift fans are like wholesome cutie pies.
Okay.
And then fatter. Yeah, if you want to do that.
Wait, you say cutie pie, it just
fatter girls.
Conjures an image.
Fatter girls like Taylor Swift than who like Ariana Grande.
Okay.
But also your Ariana Grande crowd's probably going to be trends younger.
Ironically, because her name's Grande.
Okay. And then Nicki Minaj fans. I mean, I'm a Nicki Minaj fan.
Well, I remember when she was first around, people compared her to Eminem because she had that same quick cadence.
She does. She has the same lyrical mastermind as he does.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Well, and if you talk about, she ran with Lil Wayne and that group when they were coming up, and they really groomed her to be a star. And they talk about the raw talent that she had. And if you go back and listen to some of her freestyles before she really hit the scene, they're still as incredible as she is today.
Okay.
Which I think speaks to her true talent. Anyway, Cardi B's just trash.
That's
but
what
like, you know, you like a little bit of trash every now and again.
You might.
I do.
I don't.
Sure.
Like her. Although I like a little bit of trash. That's right. I watch Venture Brothers.
What's that?
That's that cartoon I've been watching because they're about to take it off of HBO Max. It's a parody of Johnny Quest.
See, this is good. Okay, so we went into a comic book store today, and I was like, you know what? I don't belong here, and I don't want this to come off the wrong way, but like, I just never thought that I would be the kind of girl that went into a comic book store.
Now, why were we there?
Well, for the toddler.
The toddler. He's been reading
we
Spider-Man.
were also there for you.
We'll talk about that. But we've been reading Spider-Man with the toddler, and he loves it. And he was dressed as Spider-Man when we went to the store today.
Now, I'm not going to go full mom. My mom said this. She goes, what did she say to him? She's like, just because you like Thor doesn't mean that everybody else is going to like Thor. And I was like, my God.
There's a
Same,
Thor.
but I'm not going to say that out loud and break his little heart.
There's a big collection of Thor comics at my in-laws' house that the toddler was trying to get his grandparents interested in, and that's what Grandma said.
Yeah, they're just not about that.
Neither is Mom.
No, neither am I, but I'll pretend.
Yeah.
Because I want to connect with him.
So we were going in there to find the Spider-Man book.
I'm just saying, I think you and I ran with different crowds when we were in high school.
And
it
true.
became very evident this afternoon.
Because I was able to walk in there and talk to the guy.
Yes, because you were able to connect and he couldn't even make eye contact with me.
It's funny. I didn't read comic books in high school. I got into that more in college. But yeah,
I don't know that makes it better.
It would have fit. If I had known about that world in high school, I would have been all about it. Yeah.
Do you want to do something political?
That's all that was on your list?
Yeah.
I think you wanted to talk about Elon Musk and what he's done with X.
X.
I mean, SpaceX.
The Twitter rebrand that dropped.
Yeah.
2 days ago?
In the past week or so.
Yeah. Why?
So apparently this has been in the works for a while. And when he bought Twitter, he had said he wants to create a platform that does everything. There's a version, I think it's called WeChat over in China, that handles payment processing, shopping, social media, all of it. And he's trying to turn Twitter into that, but he wants it to be called X.
Why? Twitter is great as Twitter is.
Well, it was dying, and then he bought it to try and make it not
Was
die.
it dying?
It wasn't making money.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's trying to make it profitable, and I guess the way to do that is to tie the social media side that is a money pit and tie it to things that would be more profitable. And if you can get people hooked, I mean, we've seen that Twitter's at least capable of getting people to be obsessed with it, and you'll have a high number of average daily users, right? But to convert that into money, you have to get those users to do something else. And so if you can put other stuff in the app that people will want to do anyway and make it easier for them to do it because they're already on the app, why not?
I just liked it as like a public square. I thought that was sufficient.
Yeah, but you can't monetize it, and he's a businessman, right? So I guess we'll see. But you like the little bird more than the stark black X.
It just feels like he's just trying to do something super edgelordy. And for what? I don't know.
It seemed abrupt. I don't know if it'll catch on.
Half-baked.
People still call it Twitter, so...
So, like, I have to subscribe to Elon Musk's profile?
Oh, I don't know what that is lately. I've been seeing people that I follow, and I won't be able to read their tweets because it says subscribe.
Because it's bonus content.
Oh, okay. So maybe.
Justin Trudeau and his wife are getting divorced.
Shocking.
Why is that shocking?
Unhappy liberal people doing unhappy liberal things. Is he gay?
Justin Trudeau? No.
Okay. Oh, no, the rumor with him is that he's Fidel Castro's son, right?
Yeah.
Okay. There's someone... Oh, it's Gavin Newsom people thought was gay.
I can see that.
Yeah. But is that the only way he's going to be able to run for president as a white dude in the Democratic Party?
If he's gay, you mean?
Yeah.
You know who loves that? The women who loved Buttigieg. Like the divorced old Gen X, young boomer crowd who aren't proud of the sons that they raised. And so they wanted to like live through someone else. So they just pretend that Pete Buttigieg was their son. It was the awfuls. Is that what we call them? Affluent white liberal, female liberals.
Yeah.
The original Karens.
That's a internet name, yeah.
We were going to do a whole episode on Lauren Clery.
Yeah, but
that's pretty online.
I still don't know anything about them.
But I just kind of, I don't know. We can just do it now if you want.
Yeah.
And-
It wasn't her name Laura, though.
Oh, Laura. Did I say Lauren?
Yeah.
Laura Clery. And Stephen Hilton
That sounds right.
is her ex's name. And you've probably seen her stuff. I literally can't type with my hand. Hold on.
I can.
She's got 3 million followers on Instagram. Laura Clery. She's British. She does.
Is she? Or is he? I
Well,
think he is. I don't think she is.
oh, you're right.
Or he might be
No,
Australian.
you're right.
I don't.
And she does like funny social media content.
Yeah, I thought a lot of it was
A lot of it was
self-deprecating mom stuff.
Yes, because she's got 2 kids. So she had 2 kids with this guy. And from what I can tell, they broke up or they got divorced because now I'm on his profile. He's got 500,000 followers almost. His bio says movie composer terminated by YouTube for speaking about pedo rings in Hollywood. So they had 2 kids together, and then they got divorced. And then there's this whole big long video on YouTube about why they got divorced. But basically he came out as a conservative because that's what you have to do these days. Is like,
Yeah, it feels the same.
stand up against the masses, swim against the tide. And so they have like this very public falling out right now. And she's taken control of some of the channels, which subsequently has taken down some of his content. And now their fans are beefing. And yeah, and it sucks because there are 2 children in the middle.
Yeah.
And
We're going to see all of that if they don't already.
my thing is like, do you not talk about this stuff before you get married?
Well, what if he became conservative later?
Yeah.
Because that's in the Bible too, right? Like if you become a Christian, it says don't leave your unbelieving spouse if you can help it, because you might be a witness. But even the Bible acknowledges that can be extremely hard. So she just is embarrassed of him, or?
Yeah, she says that she, like all of her stuff says that she wants to be an ally and she can't be a true ally while being married to him. And
Oh, wow.
yeah, it's pretty. And I know of some family friends in real life and on the internet, feels silly to say that, but going through similar things. Like, well, I dated a guy in high school whose older sister was getting engaged, and it was kind of odd how this happened, but like the fiance of this older sister, the guy, came to me in private one time. We were doing something like as a family, but we were together in a more private setting, and he knew that I shot guns and stuff and was conservative. And he goes, leaving out her name, the girl, my boyfriend's sister at the time, doesn't want to have a gun in the home when we get married. And he was like looking for my opinion on that. And I was like, oh, that sucks.
Yeah,
You should
what are
talk
you
to
gonna
her
do?
about that. But like, that was,
Well,
I was
yeah.
saying, what are you going to do about that? Because like, just not having one is not an option, right?
Right.
Right? No,
What'd he say?
I'm sure they're married, and I'm sure that he just, caved, and there's probably not a gun in their home. But I know a lot of people like this. We have friends who are in similar situation where she doesn't like guns, and so he just bends to her will, and there are no guns in their house. There's lots of couples out there doing that on that specific issue.
I guess I'll ask you offline who that is, because I
just mouthed it to him.
Yeah, that'd be hard.
But that's going to seed resentment, right? And then
Well, I would assume so. Didn't you date a racist in college?
Are we putting this out here? Yeah, I did.
Yeah, well, I mean, you come out looking good. It's okay.
Yeah, I did. I didn't know that. And then...
But as soon as you did, like, it was something ridiculous.
Do you want to know what do you want me to reshare what the conversation was?
If you're comfortable, yeah.
Sure. Yeah, well, he had a big lifted pickup truck. He was from Georgia. The signs were there.
Well, but you were in a dorm and you used his oven or something?
Yeah, that's the only reason I ever went out. And dated is like very loose term here, but it was like a 2-month fling, 3-month fling. Yeah, I was in the dorms and I wanted to bake cookies or something, and he was in my class, and I was like, okay, I can tell that he likes me and would have me over, and I really want to bake these cookies. And he had a house because he was older, not older broadly speaking, but like 3 years, 4 years older than me. So he had a house. He lived off campus.
Mm-hmm.
And so I wanted to use his oven to make these dang cookies. And so I baked the cookies, whatever, the rest happens. And then I can't remember the topic, how it came up, but we started talking about, politics naturally, because I was political at that point and we were otherwise aligned. But then we started talking about race relations, and then I started to get the sense. And so I started prying and I started prying more. And then I was like, wait. And he goes, well, they're not fully human, talking about black people. And I was like, you did not just say that.
What?
And he goes, and I thought he was like messing around, right? And then I was like, okay, ha ha ha. And he goes, but no. And I was like, okay, ha ha ha. And he's kept going. And I was like, wait, if there were, so this is the question that just like popped to the front of my mind. I said, if there were a black girl in the middle of the road right now being raped, you wouldn't go help her? And I said, and he didn't respond. I said, if there were a white girl in the middle of the road right now being raped, would you go help her? And he goes, yeah. And I said, your lack of response is enough. And I left.
Oh my. His loss.
Yeah, that happened. I was wild in college, though. That's one of my more tame stories.
Did you take the cookies with you?
Yeah, I baked several batches.
Okay.
At one point, he complained because he said I was eating too much of his food. Which, hindsight, I probably was. I think he was on a pretty tight budget.
Oh.
But I have a lot of friends who I don't know if counseled is the right word. It makes me seem a lot more fit than I am in this, right? But to get premarital counseling.
Oh, you've encouraged them to take advantage of the same thing you.
Yeah, you should do this, and here's why.
Yeah, if you can, because it's not even that you'll find out that you're compatible or whatever. They'll ask you questions that you might not have thought that you needed to ask, and you'll at least have had the conversation before it comes up and it matters and becomes a fight.
Well, and it's good to have like a neutral third party there too. I think that diffuses a lot of tension, or even helps you navigate really tough waters. And like one of the questions that I would have never thought to ask was like, what constitutes divorce? I had no idea. I didn't.
Yeah. What are the acceptable grounds?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. What are the acceptable grounds for divorce? And we didn't even really go to that many premarital counseling sessions.
No, we ended up having to stop early because of your job, but
it was still good.
The ones we did, yeah.
Yeah.
It was worthwhile.
Kind of opened a lane, a safe space, if you will, for us to have those conversations. I might have thought it was gay at first. I can't really remember. Because at that point in my life, you were very straight-laced for me.
Yes.
In a good and healthy way.
An annoying way.
At the time. But in a virtuous way.
Yeah, but it was good.
It was, yeah.
Talk about expectations about who would do what chores, and especially before kids.
Yeah.
Create a default pattern or whatever. It's good to be intentional, especially when you're talking about the most important relationship in your life.
And it's really good before you enter marriage to even talk about what it means to you. I think so many of us, it's just like this cultural marker. It's like getting a car, or going to college, or getting a job. And we see it as equivalent to those things, and it's definitely not.
Yeah, this is my super girlfriend.
Yeah, right. I really, really like you, all caps.
Yeah. Well, and I don't know if you want to get into all this. That's part of the problem with the redefinition of marriage now. Mm-hmm. It's more than just two people who love each other, right? Mm-hmm. But when that's the message from the culture, that two people love each other, then they should be married. That's what marriage is.
And then the moment...
What else could it be?
Yeah, and then the moment that you're unhappy, you can just get a divorce. Because it's purely transactional.
It's just a contract, right? I didn't even necessarily, and I still won't claim to grasp all of the depth of the implications there, but that's probably why the institution has eroded as much as it has. We've moved away from the covenantal understanding of it.
Mm-hmm.
You're saying we are coming together for this purpose. We agree on this life mission and we're going to go do that, not we make each other happy. Yes, in that ultimate sense, like eudaimonia, right? Like happiness in that higher philosophical sense of being in accordance with virtue. Is that what it is? Is it when you're doing the right thing for the right reasons that produces happiness? That's not what we're talking about. It's incidental to what you're actually committing to. You're saying we are going to create something new together. That idea of becoming one flesh, you're a new thing when you come together as man and wife. I heard someone talking about this in the context of the crisis of masculinity or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And he was talking about men need to stop trying to find a wife and they need to find some big mission.
Mm-hmm.
And so as a man, if you can figure out what you were made to do, what God has created you to do, then when you're doing that, you're going to attract the person who is interested in helping you accomplish that thing.
I'm pretty sure I've already read it on this podcast because that's basically like what this podcast is. It's our mission statement. There is nothing more admirable than when two people who see eye to eye keep house as man and wife, confounding their enemies and delighting their friends.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, people have said that about us before offline.
Oh,
Like, that's sweet.
thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah. Let's make that true.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a cool motto.
Yeah.
But I like that, and it avoids that internet pitfall of being a white knight or whatever, or putting a woman on a pedestal and then you're simping for her, and it perverts the entire relationship, because if the marriage is about making the wife happy or just worshiping
Mm-hmm.
her instead of pursuing a common goal, it's not that you shouldn't love your wife and take care of her and respect her and honor her. All of that is true. You should do those things. But when worshiping her or just pursuing whatever she wants becomes the focus, it has to break down. And that's probably why so many marriages fail, because that's not the point of marriage. You're just doing the wrong thing.
Well, it's conflict avoidant. And so inherently it's not masculine and therefore not attractive at all.
Exactly.
Happy wife, happy life makes me feel gross. It makes me feel like I'm married to a woman.
Exactly.
Like, tell me I'm wrong. Pin me up against a wall and tell me I'm wrong.
We need borders, Laura.
I know. Have we shared that story on here before?
Yeah. But that's immediately what I thought of too, though. It puts the female in the male role.
Mm-hmm.
And she's fundamentally not going to like that.
Which is
so she's going to look for a man.
It's Silence of Adam all over again.
Yeah. Which I don't know if we've talked about. The idea that Adam was standing with Eve when Satan tempted her and she ate the fruit.
He should have stopped her.
Yeah.
She was his responsibility.
Yep. Do you want to talk about being a matriarch?
What?
With a terrible clan?
Oh, yeah. I've been thinking about that since we heard it.
Yeah. When we were on vacation, we were listening to a podcast about how to have strong... Well, we were listening to a podcast about storytelling, and one thing that came up was how to have strong families, and he put it in a way that you really liked.
Well, he was talking about how to have strong families in the face of potential downfall, societal downfall, and just the way that things are now. If they get worse, what does that look like? And if modernity as we know it were to fall off the rails and things were really to get tough, what are some things you can do to protect yourself? And he was speaking to an audience of college students, and he said to the women, don't have aspirations to become just a mom. You need to be the leader of a terrible tribe that when your children's feet hit the ground in the morning, Satan trembles, or whatever the scripture is.
Something like that.
Yeah. And I had never heard it put that way. I had never considered, this is just one of those moments where I'm like, my eyes are opened even more and the wool is lifted even further. And it's like, it was so empowering to hear, be a leader of it. I made you replay it a couple of times because it was like,
be a matriarch.
Lead a terrible tribe.
Yeah.
That scares Satan to death.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, yes, that is what I will do. I will lead a terrible tribe. And I've been saying, women are such good CEOs, like in the corporate world, strictly speaking right now. Like they make good CEOs.
Is this an anti-based take?
No, I have a point. And I think it's because women are so good at aligning the details with the vision.
Oh, that's that household management aspect, right?
But it is. And so I said, well, we're such good CEOs because we were made to be CEOs. We were made to be managers with an entrepreneurial spirit and leaders of people and builders of character. And we have this emotional intelligence that should be channeled to be a matriarch in this way. And I don't think that it's so easy. The culture has convinced us, and it convinced me up until we listened to this podcast almost last week that was like, that limitation is set inside the four walls of my home. Mm-hmm. But then I saw a meme that put that, very powerful lyrical phrase, reduced it down to something online, but it was the Chad meme, with the blonde guy with the strong chin. But it was like an older woman who was the matriarch. And then, the side by side was, what do you want to do with your life? And so then it was a woman with a cat, an older woman with a cat, side by side next to an older woman surrounded by like 7 Chads and then 4 girls, whatever the girl equivalents are. Yeah. But then it was an older woman like looking upon her legacy, these grown children who she had created, a terrible tribe. Like these were her people. She made people. Yeah, and sent them out into the world, who made more people. Mm-hmm. And she did that.
Mm-hmm. Well, you had also seen a post on social media with older sons who had come and done something cool. I don't remember exactly what it was.
Oh, yeah. It was just a group of, 3 they were just 3 brothers. Mm-hmm. And I can't even remember. It was some silly TikTok. But I looked at that and they were with their dad. And I was like, just the way, the camaraderie between them. And that's someone's legacy. Someone did that. You can work at a job for 50 years. You can have a cat. Maybe you have 2 or 3 by the time that you're 60. Maybe you have a really good relationship with like a friend and their kid. Or, maybe you lead a nonprofit. That's cool. But I want to be someone who makes someone's husband and someone's wife and someone's mother and someone's father. Yeah. When I have a quiet afternoon, when I'm 55 or 60 or whatever, I want to have a whole roster of people that I can call to come over. I want my dining room table to be long and full and warm. And that to me is way cooler, way more gangster than, I don't know, what these other ladies are doing.
Swimming at 5:30 a.m. in Nice, France.
Doing hot yoga. Yeah. On a yoga retreat when they're 60. Yeah. How long have we been going?
1:16, but there's been a lot of breaks.
Oh, we haven't seen Barbie. Do you have any opinions on Barbie, having not seen it?
I don't think. I think people are oversaturated with Barbie takes, and we haven't even seen it. But I'd much rather see Oppenheimer if we ever get a babysitter.
Oh, my God. There's a picture of a trans woman nursing a baby.
Oh, we could talk about that.
What? All the nipple hair that poor child's getting in its mouth?
No, there was a big controversy about new standards for chest feeding. Oh. For lactating. Okay.
They're going to start saying chest feeding.
No, like, women are supposed to watch what they eat when they breastfeed, and if they drink alcohol, they're supposed to pump and dump. Mm-hmm. But lactating males are encouraged to feed their babies.
The hormone-induced
lactation
medicine
is good to give to babies.
Well, yeah.
Okay.
I really can't think of an